And I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but in hindsight, we probably should have used the same bipod on both because the wider Cal Gen 2 really seemed to make a more stable platform, and it was just overall a lot easier to shoot off of, and I think everyone noted that and liked that platform a lot better. Regardless though, I'm just overall wowed by these results and what you get at this price point. For $1,200, I'd be hard-pressed to recommend anything else for someone looking to purchase a mid-range rifle or even just getting started, or even, hell, even if you've been in the game a while, this is a fantastic purchase. I even thought about it, like if I were to price it out and to build it myself and try to save as much as possible, I don't know if I could do an ARCA rail, 2-stage match trigger, all the things that are included, B5 furniture, all that, and then still, I think I'd still be more than the $1,200 price point. But I think this finally wraps up our IWI Zion SPR videos. From its features to its price point to amazing accuracy, this is just one setup that seems to do it all and do it all well. Hey Wizards, welcome back. Now, I've had a ton of questions from you all from when we did the IWI Zion SPR review as to how that rifle actually does in terms of accuracy. I'll be honest, I kind of want to know too, because without accuracy, do all those features and cost savings even matter at all? So today we'll be testing the IWI Zion SPR 18 in terms of accuracy and see what it can do. Just in our initial look, the SPR has a pretty insane value with the included 2-stage match trigger and ARCA rail. So if that barrel can even hang with moderately good, like 1.5 MOA accuracy, we could have something pretty crazy on our hands. As I already know the results of this video, I will tell you now that this is the platform to compare everything else against. And yes, I have a bit of a cold I've been battling for like a week now. Dollar for dollar, pound for pound, and even MOA for MOA, I think you're going to be just as surprised as I was by these results. But before we get into all that, let's take a moment, thank today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by HRT Tactical Gear. HRT offers high-end tactical gear designed for the operational professional all the way to the everyday citizen, with the all-new ARC medical and dump pouches to round out your ARC belt for any mission configuration. I'm looking forward to getting my whole ARC belt configured with the new dump pouch and the new medical. I think they just look awesome. And as always, you can use discount code TLDco over at HRTTacticalGear.com. I also want to give a big shout out to B&T for giving our SPR some new legs with the Atlas Cal Gen 2 bipod with the Area 419 ARCA head to use that full SPR ARCA rail. And we'll also be using the Atlas B8 bipod we've had set up on our long-range Criterion setup to compare the IWI against. So much love to HRT, they give us so much support to the channel, and also big thanks to B&T for making this test actually possible. We don't have to switch out bipods every 2 seconds. Now let's take a moment and talk about some of my potential biases when it comes to this test. And I don't really have any. We don't have any sort of affiliate relationship with IWI, and I don't get anything special if we say something nice about them. I think the accuracy test results are just going to be what they're going to be, but IWI did send us this rifle for review, and the more I've looked at it with the features and the price point, I've just been wowed every single time as to what's included and what you get compared to everything else on the market. We also did a full review if you want to see this whole setup from head to tail and learn all about the different features. Let's get into it though and talk accuracy. Now, accuracy tests are something I don't generally do because they can be gamed pretty easily. Like a 3-shot group is pretty trash in terms of realistic results. Hell, even a 5-shot group, you need to shoot multiple of them. But then it's like, well, how many 5-shot groups do you need to get a good average? Probably 5 to 10, honestly. And then we add in the fact that how I shoot won't necessarily be how you shoot. You may shoot better than me or worse than me. And I think everybody out there knows that shooting from a FUD lead sled isn't any sort of realistic results either. So what I did is I got 2 buddies, and what we'll do is each take turns shooting the Criterion at 100 and 300 meters, and then swap over to the IWI Zion and do the exact same thing. Then kind of our accuracy test gives you the opportunity to see what each of the shooters can do on their own, and then see how the results change when we move to different platforms. Not so much how just like one guy shoots, kind of how a group of people generally average in terms of accuracy from one platform to the other. In terms of optics, for the Zion SPR, I left on the primary arms 3 to 18 Athena that Cody and I love so much. And for the Criterion, I put on the Zerotech Trace 3-18 with the LR Hunter reticle. Both those scopes and reticles have done spectacular in all the optics tests when we actually did those dedicated reviews. But in hindsight, if I ever did this accuracy test again, comparing them side by side, I would probably make sure to have two of the exact same optic. I also should spend a little bit more time zeroing better. I'm about 99.9% sure that I went up 3 clicks on the last part of the zero I was doing instead of going down. I'm fairly certain of it after looking at the results. Whatever, it won't matter at all. We're just measuring groups today anyway. The Criterion also has the Dead Air Sandman K with the e-brake and the IWI Zion with the Dead Air Sandman S and e-brake that we set up in the SPR upgrade video. As noted, the Zion also has the Atlas Cal bipod Gen 2 and the Criterion has the Atlas B8 bipod. I'm not gonna lie to you though, I think the Cal Gen 2 bipod is a bit of a cheat code. It just seems to give you a ton more stability with the wider legs and the wider base. But I'll leave a bit at the end where they can chime in and give their opinions about the different platforms and different bipods. Probably should have used the same one on both of those also. All right, first up is Dan at 100 meters to kind of build our base as to what our normal accuracy is. And I'll watch along with you and add in some commentary as we go. Well, here's Dan. I think I forgot to turn that camera on. But he's aiming middle target. I think the zero's off by about 0.75. Yeah, almost exactly, because he hit that target directly in the center. Let's see what he gets for his second shot and see how good of a group he can get on this one. So line everything up. Looks like about a little more than an inch to the right for the second shot. Following up with the third shot. Almost right on top of the original shot at the top, so a good bit higher, that one. Again to the right with the fourth shot. About an inch off still. And then up by the last shot again. All right, that's an all right group. Pretty good for just getting warmed up. He ended up with a 1.59 MOA. I'll put the actual ballistic chart over here so you can see all the math and stuff. Now, this one guy I marked out, he didn't count because that was us trying to figure out how far off my zero was. And 1.5, 1.6 is kind of what I expect from just off-the-shelf ammo. Oh, I probably should add in what ammo we're actually using. Today we're not using anything magical, just regular off-the-shelf S&B 77 grain from True Shot Gun Club. We've used this setup and ammo combination for a ton of optics testing in the past, and we've never had an issue with being unable to hit steel, but paper tells us a more detailed story. And that story may be that I did a crappy job putting that gun together. All right, though, my turn next. All right, looks like I remember to turn all the cameras on. I'm aiming at the right side target, looking at that same bottom spot. All right, so just to the right of center, so that's pretty good for the first shot. That wind is actually moving to the right. Oh, that's almost right on top of the last shot, so that accuracy is pretty good so far. Let's see if we can follow it up. No, managed to wing it up to the right, about an inch off so far. Come on, get back in the group. Oh, that's so good. Look at that. Almost 3 on top of one another. That's why we don't shoot 3-shot groups. Last shot. Oh, that's going to widen things up for sure. Interestingly, I almost keyholed 3 of them, but then winged 2 of them off, so I ended up with an almost identical MOA to Dan with a 1.58. And this is a good example as to why shooting a 3-shot group isn't any sort of realistic results, and someone who shows you their 3-shot grouping is probably just a jerk. All right, next though, we have Matt up next at 100 meters with the Criterion. All right, Matt's turn on the left target. He's aiming for that same bottom center dot. Looks like he's over to the right and high, kind of like the rest of us. Pretty good start so far. Let's see what we can do in the second shot. Touching the red center. Looks like a pretty good group, about an inch in between, maybe a little bit less. Third shot, still pretty good, I think. Pretty close. Ooh, that last one's going to widen up a little bit up to the top right. Coming in with his last shot, right on top of the last one. I did a little bit of coaching with Dan and Matt. I should add that in. And Matt is a little bit newer to long-range shooting, but he still did well and set a solid baseline with a 1.9 MOA for his shooting group here at 100. And now if we take a look at our numbers, we have a good solid base as to what each of our shooters were able to do at 100 meters out of our Criterion Core setup. Now, we also did shoot out to 300 meters, but I had the zero so jacked up that we spent most of our time just trying to chase it and get on paper, and we wasted most of the ammo. We were able to get it locked in right at the end though, and Dan did get one group of 4 at 300 meters. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. Bottom right target, he's aiming a little bit lower than center. If you look at that first hit is in the bottom right, you can barely see it. That wind is really kicking up, and I can barely keep the image stable. Second shot is that same bottom right corner. Come on, wind, stop doing that. All right, see the second one? Third shot coming up just around the corner there as we circle the black circle at the bottom. And fourth shot is in that little black dot. You can't really see it from here, though. Once we had it all figured out, Dan got about a 1.3 MOA group at 300 yards, which is pretty good, and I thought it was pretty impressive. And the biggest thing I found was with the hot or the cold barrel for the Criterion, it was just consistent across all the shooting. This isn't match grade ammo or anything, and I'm sure we could find some ammo that really closes these groups up on their Criterion Core setup. But you know what? That's not what we're testing today, and that's not what this is all about. We do have a good baseline now as to what our shooters can do and what our rifle can do, so let's swap over to our IWI setup and see what these guys can get in terms of accuracy and start out at 100 meters, again with Dan. I think Dan's up first. All right, Dan's up, first group. He's aiming for the bottom circle again, middle target. My zero's not off, so he's actually pretty close to it. First shot is almost on top of that little target. Oh, second shot, that's probably a half inch over to the left. Let's see what we can do on the third. Third shot, I have no idea where that went. That's weird, okay. Fourth shot. Oh, that's going to be quite the group. They're almost all touching there. And fifth shot, oh, dead center. That is just fantastic. Empty. Now, I reviewed the footage a good bit, and I don't know where that third shot went. I checked the baffles and everything, and there weren't any strikes there. But looking back at the footage, it does seem to fly really high right. I'm just going to count it as an anomaly. Maybe this box of ammo we just opened is complete trash for some reason, or just has some weirdo rounds in there. But just counting these four, that's an insane 0.6 MOA group. 0.6 MOA in a $1,200 gun. That is a fantastic start. All right, my turn next. Let's see if I can keep it up. All right, Dan threw down the gauntlet for sure. I'm aiming at the right target, but the center. Okay, just looks like I'm a little bit off to the left, same as Dan is. Second shot. Oh, those are close. That's quarter inch maybe. Third shot. That's still pretty good. Maybe a half inch from the first one. Okay, that landed on Dan's target for the fourth shot. There's another flyer. And let's see what the fifth shot. Oh, fifth shot almost keyholes another one. That's fantastic shooting again. Now again, we saw another flyer that flew off onto Dan's target. It's the exact same box of ammo that we're both shooting, so I'm gonna assume that. I again did check the baffles and there were no strikes, no nothing. It's all still just fine. But this is a good moment to reflect and think about how to do accuracy tests in the future and make a note to yourself to use match grade ammo in the future. I really do think it's something up with that box of ammo because how we had almost the exact same group with the Criterion, him and I both shot 0.6 MOA groups if you just count the four and not the one that flew off into oblivion. But yeah, anomalies aside, that means you have two shooters in a row that shot 1.5 MOA previously, now both shooting almost half an MOA. Almost a half MOA. I don't know if I was showing you my target before. It doesn't matter. Almost a half MOA out of a gas gun at $1,200. That should piss some people off. All right, though, next up is Matt's turn. All right, let's see what Matt can do next. He's aiming just a little bit below center. Looks like on the left target. First shot, again, a little bit to the left. Probably just need to shift that over, but we do have a bit of wind. He does make a lot of adjustments. Yeah, and I don't know if that plagued him here. It's a little bit lower now, probably about an inch or so. Let's see if we can get on the third shot, though. Again, super close to the first one, closing the gap between the two. Fourth shot lining up. So we can do, if you can calm it down, a little bit off to the left, so widen that group off a bit. He does get a bit of a flyer on the fourth shot. We keep seeing that, third or fourth shot. Fifth one, close it up nicely. Good job, man. It is interesting to note that all of us had one that's a flyer, and if we count the flyer for Matt, he ended up with a 2.2 MOA group. But if we give him a head nod for that little guy, he has a super impressive 1.1 MOA for just these four here. Meaning Matt shot almost a half MOA tighter with the Zion SPR than with the Criterion, or roughly the same as the Criterion if we just count them all. And here we get to it. The question for the day, is the Zion SPR accurate? And with mid-tier, non-match, off-the-shelf S&B ammo. We're getting consistently better results from the same shooters as we switch platforms and even some sub MOA groups. Okay, small asterisk on that. I don't know why those couple rounds just flew off into no man's land. I'm assuming it's the ammo though. I don't think there's many guns that are out there that are even 3 times the price that come close to this in terms of accuracy. Now, we did shoot out to 300 and I did have some more zeroing issues plus some camera drama, but we did capture, again, Dan out to 300 at the very end. All right, Dan's on bottom right target again, about 1.7 mils on the reticle down. You can see him line it up. First shot almost directly in the red, just a little bit off to the left. Second shot, good bit to the right, looks like about 1.25 inches to the right. Third shot, let's see what we can do here. Oh, really close to that second shot. Good grief. This is going to be a pretty good group. Fourth shot. See, just a little bit further outside. Okay, so it's widening a good bit to the right. We do have a lot of wind, though. Fifth shot, just a little bit high, but still a good group. Even with the wind and everything, he shot a pretty solid 1.2 MOA group, which lines up pretty much identical to the Criterion when we did the same test out to 300 also. I think that wraps it up, folks, and I think that gives you some solid data to make some decisions for yourself as a consumer. But let's hear the thoughts from Dan and from Matt as to their thoughts from the shooting and using different bipods on different platforms, just what they think off the cuff. All right, so Dan, after shooting and us having some fun with the Criterion and kind of seeing what the Zion can do, what are your thoughts of the Zion in terms of price and accuracy and kind of what you get in that package?
Yeah, so when we were talking about the price, knowing the price, like the price point seemed really well. The trigger was probably the biggest thing, besides obviously the grouping results.
The two-stage trigger?
Yeah, the two-stage trigger.
So, and Dan, we were talking just before this, he was surprised that it came with the match trigger. And we talk about this all the time for the $1,200 price point. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah, for the $1,200 price point, like the trigger, just getting behind the gun felt better. Really enjoyed the gun overall, and the groupings, I think, kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. We're gonna go and we'll show you guys all the math. I probably did already before this point. But what do you think in terms of accuracy? Is that a price point where that accuracy is acceptable, or do you think it's not good enough for a $1,200 price point?
No, I think for the price point, that's great. Like my long range shooting experience is near zero, and I could group like that with it. So yeah, for that price point, yeah, I think it's great.
And for the last thing we're going to mention at the beginning of the video, big thanks to B&T for supplying us with some of the new bipods we're using today. So what did you think? We talked a bunch about this kind of off camera. What are your thoughts on the cant and lock on the Zion versus the B8 bipod on the Criterion?
The cant and lock was awesome. I love that. Like making that adjustment. It's quick, easy. It wasn't difficult to make at all. And yeah, again, I think that really contributed to how I felt behind the gun leaning into it. And we talked about it in our own footage, and you'll maybe see us talking when we were shooting, but it's just a whole lot more stable. Like the whole platform just felt more stable compared to the other one. I think maybe because the legs are wider, I don't know what it is. It contributed to just a better shooting experience overall. So sure. Big thanks, Dan. We'll make sure to have him out for more. Let's hear what Matt's thoughts are after he shoots, and let's see how the Zion does. All right, next we have Matt. He just finished shooting the Zion and the Criterion. What were your thoughts so far, kind of looking at the Zion as a more budget option? Do you think it fills that role at all in terms of what it can do?
It was really nice to shoot today. It was smooth. The trigger was awesome.
Again, the trigger.
First time shooting it, so in a long time. I was impressed that there's not a lot of over travel, which is nice for being a two-stage. So.
And what were your thoughts kind of when we're looking at accuracy? Kind of the whole point of this is the accuracy line. Do you think the IWI Zion SPR at a $1,200 price point gives you a level of accuracy that I think most consumers would be okay with or would be impressed with?
Oh, absolutely. When we were out, and you're going to go over math and stuff later anyways, but being able to never shoot a gun and get behind it and shoot, what were you shooting, 1.5 mils today?
That's what I think. Yeah, we'll overlay everything as what we were shooting. We'll have all the data. We haven't crunched all the numbers yet, but they were impressive.
It was fun. It was nice. I thought it was friendly and easy to get behind.
Did you find kind of what we're talking about with Dan with between the two different bipods, the cant and lock and the B8 on the Criterion? Did you find you preferred one or the other or felt more stable on one of the other bipods from the other?
I really like the cant and lock better. You're able to apply pressure when you lean into the rifle. You can lean hard, and it made a huge difference on stability.
Yeah, again, and maybe we have to play with it, and maybe we'll show it more to viewers. That was kind of a weird thing that happened. It just felt a lot more stable. I don't think it's because, maybe it's because of the wider platform. I don't know, we gotta play with it some more. So big thanks, Matt. Thanks for coming out. We'll have Matt more with us, with Dan and everybody. We'll test some more stuff out. But I want to see what other shooters thought instead of just me, to give you guys more data as to more like, hey, what is the average consumer gonna get? So, all right, let's get back to it. I want to say big thanks to both Dan and Matt for coming out and helping me do the accuracy testing. We had a lot of fun that day. It was an absolute blast. We did have to chase some zeros and had all kinds of issues, but we had a really fun time. So thanks guys for coming out. And with their help, we saw 3 different shooters across 2 different platforms to show how the IWI Zion SPR 18 performs so perfectly in that longer distance SPR role. And I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but in hindsight, we probably should have used the same bipod on both, because the wider Cal Gen 2 really seemed to make a more stable platform, and it was just overall a lot easier to shoot off of, and I think everyone noted that and liked that platform a lot better. Regardless though, I'm just overall wowed by these results and what you get at this price point. For $1,200, I'd be hard-pressed to recommend anything else for someone looking to purchase a mid-range rifle, or even just getting started, or even, hell, even if you've been in the game a while, this is a fantastic purchase. I even thought about it, like if I were to price it out and to build it myself and try to save as much as possible, I don't know if I could do an Arca rail, 2-stage match trigger, all the things that are included, B5 furniture, all that, and then still, I think I'd still be more than the $1,200 price point. But I think this finally wraps up our IWI Zion SPR videos. From its features to its price point to amazing accuracy, this is just one setup that seems to do it all, and do it all well. I really am curious now though, after seeing the SPR 18, how well the 16 performs, but I think we have some piston rifle magic lined up next for you. So maybe instead we can see the Galil Ace on the channel and compare it to the performance of the Jackal I'm currently working on and the Carmel we already saw. We'll see though, those piston guns are all incredibly heavy, and I don't understand why the internet is so excited about them. They are very heavy. Very, very heavy, particularly the long stroke ones. Anyway, I hope this video on the IWI Zion SPR accuracy testing and all the other features and all the other things we did on this platform was useful in your purchasing decisions. I want to say thanks to all of our Patreon supporters and our YouTube members. You guys make it possible we can test all these rifles, go out and do all these cool things, and see how they actually perform. And I want to say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below about what you think about this platform and what other platform on the market you think could beat it. I want to know about it because I want to test it. All right, everybody, take care. Someone's gonna see the Criterion and they're gonna say, like, why does your Criterion do so bad? It should be noted that I've never cleaned that gun. And after I got home, I felt so bad about like why it didn't perform amazingly well. It is just gunked to high heaven. So maybe one day, shortly when we go test the Jackal, maybe I'll bring the Criterion back out. I'll do some shots, we'll foul it a little bit, and then do some more accuracy shots when it's not all gunked to high heaven. I'm pretty sure I had some screws also that were done for some of the M-lock mounts and stuff that were actually touching or super close to the barrel that could have been messing with harmonics. I think I'm just making excuses for it though. That is a fantastic setup and it's done great for us. I think the IWI Zion is more accurate, or at least comparable, which just makes a ton of good purchasing options for everyone. Okay, I think that's it. What's next? Yeah, night vision, always night vision. I just always enjoy doing that stuff. All kinds of cool testing. Oh, the Jackal. Yeah, I'm working on that next, and I got some cool optics for you. Oh, and helmets. Yeah, a bunch of bump helmets. Yeah, all that. Okay, take care, everyone.